Hey guys, my name is Blaze Nelson, and I wanted to share with you one of the most important pictures that I've ever seen of what God has done for us. When I was in college, I found a lump in my leg, and after consulting with a doctor, I got it surgically removed, and immediately after moved to LA for a summer program. And in LA, I stayed in a frat house that was very gross and not well kept, and my wound ended up getting infected. I went into urgent care, and they gave me antibiotics, and they drew a border on my leg and said, if the infection passes this border, you need to immediately go into the emergency room. And within 4 hours, it had passed the border, but I waited 24 hours. So I ended up in the emergency room sick and feverish and not doing well. And what they did was they cut me open and drained the infection out. But then, instead of repeating what had happened and covering it over with a Band-Aid, they gave me saline and long Q-tips and gauze, and each day, I think it was 3 times a day, I had to spray saline solution into the wound and clean it out with the Q-tips and then shove gauze into the wound. I had to do this for a couple weeks, and then it eventually healed. Now, I know that is a really gross story, but I think it is important to understand that God has done that for us. A lot of people have the assumption that they are so gross and so vile that God can't do anything with them. And I think a lot of Christians even fall into the trap of thinking that when we're saved, God just puts a Band-Aid over our wounds and over our sin and doesn't deal with it. The reality is that God engages with our sin. And when we become believers and when we put our faith and our hope in Jesus, instead of just covering over our sins with a Band-Aid and hoping that they heal, Jesus comes in and he starts to clean out the infection. And he takes that saline and he sprays it into the wound, and he takes his Q-tips and cleans it out, and then he stuffs gauze in there, and he does that faithfully. And the difference between those two thought patterns is, one, if God just covers up our sin, then we're left to try to heal by ourselves. The reality is that God cares, and that he comes in, and even though sin is so vile to him, and even though it's so painful and so messy and brings so much death, Jesus comes in and he heals and he tackles our infections, and he cleans them out, and he offers us a new life in him. And if you've never done that, he has offered that to you. When Jesus came and died on the cross, he gave you a check to cover over your sins. And he said, you know what? I will take it and I will heal you. Now, if I were to ask you the worst thing that you've ever done, within about 10 seconds, there's something that probably comes to your mind. And a lot of people carry that, and they'll carry it to their deathbed. And the thing that Christ offers is he offers you a chance to heal from that. He offers you a chance for him to come in and clean out that infection and that death that sin is bringing into your life. And he does that faithfully. And if we pursue him and if we walk in a relationship with him, he continues to do it. Even the deepest wounds that we have, God will come in and he continually heals and he continually cleans and he continually makes new. And I think that's a really important picture to have in our minds. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you.